Hi, creative friends. This is Soraya, and thank you so much for being here. So, I am working in my studio log, and I have been journaling, writing, asking questions and prompts, and just doing all sorts of different deep dives into the divine feminine. And I wanted to share some of these prompts. And the last time I opened up my studio log and I shared my prompts, I had a comment that somebody asked me if they could share the prompts that I'm sharing in the video, if they could share that on their social media. And absolutely, you guys, like, I am not gatekeeping in any capacity at all. So if you want to share them, that is totally fine. If it can help somebody, or if it's part of your creative channel or Instagram or social media, whatever, you can use them as is. You can modify it. You can it can morph into something that maybe more suits what you're working in. But I really love some of these questions, and this is what I am working on right now, which is the divine feminine, and taking archetypes, the work of Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes, working more intuitively. So it's a whole bunch of different things that are kind of where I'm at right now. So like I said, you can modify these, but it's just to give you an idea of, how I am using my studio log. And I'm doing this present day, but when I first started, I did not, I wasn't in the same place I am now, for one thing. And, my studio log practice has evolved over time. So anyways, I'm just going to read the prompts, and, hopefully this will be helpful for anybody out there who's thinking about working in their studio log and going deeper into their own art practice. And basically, let me pull out this journal here. So this art journal right here, is going to be about the divine feminine. I don't know what it's going to be called. I don't know exactly what theme I'm going to be using, but I do know that this is going to be the divine feminine in some capacity, however I define that. So all of these questions relate to that, but they're also, like I said, pulling threads from all the other stuff I'm immersing myself in right now, which is, Jungian psychology, Dr. Estes, archetypal psychology, symbolism, collective unconscious, working intuitively, etc. So, number one, what does the divine feminine feel like in my body, and where does she live? And I feel like this is a really important way for me to work intuitively, because a lot of times I can have this idea of, oh, I'm going to work intuitively, but what exactly does that mean? So I feel like this is just a little doorway for me to be like, oh, well, where does the divine feminine live in my body? Does she live in one place? Does she live in multiple places? And it just is a little kind of a key that I can use to unlock my like working more from an intuitive place. Number two, if my intuition had a face, what would she look like? Number three, what parts of myself have I been taught to silence, and how do they want to express now? A color, a line, words? Number four, where am I soft? Where am I powerful? Where am I both at once? So this is like tension, which I feel is very important to, to kind of introduce tension, and then to explore that tension. Number five, what season am I in right now, internally and creatively? Like, 2 years ago, I stopped painting completely for like a year and a half. So I was in a different season in my life and in my art than I am now. Now I'm in a very creative season. And I think it's important, so, for us to know that, and to know that there are ebbs and flows to our creativity. Number six, if I were a landscape, what would I look like today? I think this one is a really interesting kind of a prompt, because, then I could sketch a landscape, or I can even just visualize a landscape, and instantly it's going to put me in a frame of mind. Like, am I a grove of olive trees with the sun hitting? Am I a cityscape? It's just a very kind of a creative visual. Instantly I can like transport myself. Number 7, what is blooming in me? What is decaying and dying? And why might that be necessary right now? So I think both of those are important. Like, what is coming to life and what is also dying? Number 8, how do I relate to rest, stillness, darkness, both literally and figuratively? Number 9, what does my power look like when it's fully embodied and not performative? I think this is a really important and interesting question for me to explore. Number 10, where in my art have I mistaken control for strength? I think this is important for me because I want to introduce more spontaneity and juice rather than the stillness of the way my earlier works were. Number 11, what would it feel like to take up more space physically, emotionally, and creatively? Number 12, what points of my story am I ready to reclaim or reinterpret? So now I'm going to focus a little bit on emotions. Number 13, if my emotions were an ocean, what is happening beneath the surface? Number 14, what am I avoiding feeling and how can I express it visually instead? Number 15, where does grief live in my body? What color, texture, form does it take? Number 16, what does joy look like when it's quiet and internal and not performative? Now we get into archetypes. Number 17, if I could create a symbol of my feminine essence, what would it be? Now, of course, this is all like personal. Like all of this is just my visual language, where I'm at in my life right now, what I want to explore, what is inspiring me. So it's all like, it's just very, very personal as it's meant to be. Number 18, what feminine archetype am I predominantly embodying right now? And for me, I think it's the medial woman. Number 19, what would my wild self create if there were no rules or audience? Number 20, what does surrender look like in my art and what resists it? So I think that for a lot of these questions, I can either write them out, like journal, like I can pick, I say I can pick, like if my emotions were an ocean, what is happening beneath the surface? I could actually journal about it. I can write, as much as I want about it, or I can just get out a sketchbook and I can just, do a sketch, make marks, do some quick drawings or a quick painting or even visualize something. So I think that a lot of these questions are open-ended enough that they can, take on many different forms. Like there's no right or wrong. And these are just like entry points, you guys, but it's just giving you an idea of where I'm at in my art right now, how I'm working, how I'm using my studio log. And I hope that this video has been interesting and informative and helpful. So I'll see you in my next video. Bye.